Guys, so here we are, and welcome to the third webinar that is a part of the FinFest. FinFest basically is a fest that is solely related to finance and economics, and it is an initiative taken by the finance, economics, and business clubs of the various IITs, namely IIT Guwahati, Bombay, Delhi, Roorkee, BHU, and Kanpur. So, in the third webinar, we have with us Parth Parekh, who is a member of FinShiksha, and before joining from last 5 years, and before joining FinShiksha, he served at Fidelity Investment as a research analyst and also ICICI Bank as a manager. So, Parth, over to you.
Hi guys, thank you Harsh, thank you IIT team, thank you FinFest team for arranging this. This is wonderful. So what I'm going to do is I'll just take you through the entire process. It'll take hardly a couple of minutes, and then I have some questions which is commonly asked. We already have good amount of traction with respect to the registrations from the grad campuses and from the MBA campuses as well. So I will take some commonly asked questions, and then whatever questions you have, feel free to shoot. All right. So with that, let me just share my screen. I'll just take you through the process. Is my screen visible? Perfect.
Yes, it is.
All right. Okay. Give me a moment. Just fine. Okay. So what we're doing in this particular exercise is basically we are doing industry analysis. Now, the first and foremost question is why industry analysis and what exactly this competition is about and why is this useful? So this is the most commonly asked question at an undergrad level and then at a postgrad level as well. So think about this. You are working in an investment bank, or you are working in the private equity, or you are working in the venture capital, or you are working on the equity side, basically equity research, or on the stock research side. Leaving aside the financials, first and foremost thing, the most analysts, and you can check with your seniors in the industry. First and foremost thing, what they do is just to identify the industry, which industry will particularly grow in future, why will they grow, and how will they grow. So these are the two parameters. They will spend too much of time, even if you look at any of the IPO documents as well. So good 80-100 pages of the analysis has been done by a company or by an investment banker for that particular company, giving outline about the sector, giving outline about the company's history and why this particular sector will do well, what are the nuances, what are the factors affecting, what are the risks which will probably come in the growth phase, etc. So that's why this is a competition. We wanted this competition to be a fair playing ground for everyone, because both undergrads and postgrads are going to be a part of this. So we don't want anybody to have an undue advantage, especially on the MBA side, because they have some understanding on the finance. So we wanted a fair and square competition, so that even the undergrads can have a good chance of winning. So this is basically, this competition will test your thought process more than the numbers, more than the financial numbers or complicated financial numbers like valuation, etc. We are not going to test you on valuation. We are going to test you on the common business skills and understanding of a particular industry, a particular sector. So that's the entire crux of this particular competition. Now let's get into the nuances. So what is this competition is about? So the objective is basically to have a thorough industry research as a part of the entire process. So, and most of the MBAs will concur with this particular argument that whenever we are in a college, we just do a one-day cursory research and we just present it. Okay. So this is not like that, and this is at par with how do we do research in, let's say, equities or investment banking or PE or VC side. So that's the objective. Obviously, this will have two different components. Like one is the presentation and how deep you have done your research. Okay. Now, since we have too many teams, there is one basically an elimination, not an elimination per se, but it's not to discourage anyone. But basically, we cannot just ask every team to work on the presentation, and we can actually, but it will not be a fair on our part to not go through every research if we ask. So far we have around 370 teams. I assume we'll probably go to, let's say, 600, 700 teams by the time the 5th of February approaches. So we'll not be in a position to evaluate all teams. That's why we have kept it round 1, which is basically a small MCQ test. MCQ test will not have too many number-based questions, but it will basically test your business skills or business acumen or relatively simpler financial acumen. It is not going to be too heavy on numbers or too heavy on financial concepts. So don't worry around that. Everybody will have a fair and square playing ground. The question over here will be that we are in a team of 2 or team of 3. Do we need to take individual exams? The answer is no. This can be a collective exam. You both can sit together or via conference. This is going to be a time test of let's say 30 or 40 minutes. We will define that and we'll send you a detailed mail around that. All MCQs, you can use your calculator. No need to type or anything. This is entirely an MCQ based question, so you can directly take it either from your mobile or laptops or tablets, anyway. Very short quiz, 30 to 40 questions, no negative markings. There will be a cutoff, and only above that cutoff we will ask team to create a video sort of and send us the presentation. So that's with respect to round 1. Now let's say you have cleared round 1. Now what is going to be the next steps, or what are going to be the next steps, and what are going to be the industries? So I will tell you the industries right now. Why am I going to tell you the industries? So let's say you're pretty confident, or let's say you want to start preparing, start collecting the data with respect to those industries. There is no harm whether you get selected or not selected. Even if you spend some time on that particular industry, you will only learn. It's not like that you are going to unlearn something. So it's only good. I am also going to tell you the sources. It's not that you just have to use those sources, but I'm just making your life easy. These are the sources where you will get most of the data, or you can use these are the sources to kickstart your research. So this is basically the competition format. I am going to come to the research part in a moment, but this is what the competition format is. You can get it from your Dare to Compete site as well, and you will have this data on FinShiksha's website. So by 5th, we will upload this on our FinShiksha website. So those who want to access this particular document can get it from there as well. So you can create your free account on www.finshiksha.com. There are some free resources available on finance. So there is around 5-6 hours of content which is already available on our website on your account, which is going to be a free account. So you can access that in any case. So moving to the most crucial part is basically how the competition is going to be and what is going to be evaluation criteria. So this is going to be an evaluation criteria. Let me take you point wise, basically how it's going to be. So let's start with the first point. So for any industry, you have to do, let's say, Porter's 5 forces or a SWOT analysis. What is strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat? So that analysis you can do, or any other established valid framework. So you can either use pestle model, basically political or economical or sociological. So that's how there are 6 different factors which are defined. So either you can use Porter's 5 forces, So there are different 5 parameters which Mr. Porter has given to us: competition, rivalry, or threat of substitutes, or bargaining power of buyers, bargaining power of suppliers, etc. So there are 5 forces, or basically 5 factors which has been given to us. So just to take you an example, and this is not too complicated, trust me. So one of the factors is buying power or bargaining power of buyers. Okay. So now if you look at, let's say, some of the industries, let's say a two-wheeler industry, let's say Eicher Motors is Royal Enfield basically. So if you go to a distributor, doesn't negotiate with you, generally he will basically give you, let's say, 5 or 10,000 discount. But like the way you negotiate with the vegetable vendor, does Royal Enfield negotiate with you? The answer is no. So in that particular scenario, your buying power or bargaining power of a buyer is less compared to, let's say, somebody who is selling just vegetables. Because in vegetables, you can actually go to a next vendor. In the Royal Enfield segment, you can actually go to a next distributor, which will probably give you 2 or 3,000 of additional discount or some services. But Royal Enfield or an Eicher Motors is not going to give you that kind of a discount. Okay, so this is the kind of analysis is what we want. Now, does it require an MBA degree for this? The answer is no, because this is more like a common sense, whatever you have seen. And we have picked up industry, not too complicated, don't worry. So we have picked up industry which you have seen in your surroundings or which you're familiar with, don't worry. SWOT is again strength, weakness, opportunity and threats. You can either pick up companies because strength and weaknesses are for a company and opportunity threats are for a company. So you can actually pick up a company and then you actually pick up a SWOT analysis or any other established or valid framework you want. You can do that market share analysis or any metric analysis or pestle analysis. Anything you want to do, you can do that. Some of the formats or some of the other framework which McKinsey, Bain or BCG has established, you can use that as well, which we generally call as MBB frameworks, defined by either McKinsey, Bain or BCG. You can use those as well. Second point is you have to define a market structure. So if there is a particular sector, then what kind of market is this? Is this a monopoly market or an oligopoly market or monopolistic or a perfect competition? There is no industry in the world which is a perfect competition. But most of the industries or all the industries are either monopoly or oligopoly or monopolistic. So let me give you an example. Monopoly is outright pricing power in a particular segment. So give me a moment. So likes of Apple in a premium market or premium phones category has technically a monopoly, but they have a monopoly, let's say in India, or let's say they have a monopoly in the US that you have to define based on what. Google has a kind of a monopoly in digital ad space, but in an overall ad space, Google does not have a monopoly. That shows that how to define your market, that thought process we want to see. Oligopoly. So if you just look at Pepsi and Coke, they are just oligopolies. But if you look at sector-wise, then let's say you are looking in India, then you have a couple of other local or regional players, like Paperboat is one. So Paperboat is kind of a product name. Hector Beverages is the manufacturer of Paperboat. So that's not kind of a monopoly. So that kind of segment, or so Red Bull is kind of an competition to Pepsi and Coke. So that's not a monopoly, oligopoly basically. So oligopoly defines, let's say, 2 or 3 players. Telecom in India is kind of an oligopoly, you can say that. Monopolistic competition, toothpaste, soaps, shampoos, all are monopolistic competition. So we are not looking at the definition. I'm just giving an example, but we are not looking at the definition. We are looking at the thought process. You can say that Pepsi and Coke are in a monopolistic competition business. But we want to see the thought process that why do you think it's a monopolistic competition? You can also say they are perfect competition. Why do you think it's a perfect competition? You can have a different point of view from your counterpart or from other teams from the same campus. That's perfectly okay. Alright. Then comes some numbers, basically provide some comprehensive data analysis on industry, how the industry is growing, why will it grow, what are the parameters influencing industry to grow, what are the risk factors or where the competition can come from, why will industry not grow in the first place. So let's say if you're looking at telecom, or let me take a very simple example of a Facebook. So Facebook has primarily 4 products. One is Facebook, one is WhatsApp, one is Facebook Messenger, and fourth is Instagram. So if you think from a Facebook's perspective, close to around 2.5 billion people are generally active on a monthly basis on Facebook. 1 billion each on Instagram, Facebook Messenger, and WhatsApp. So 2.5 plus 1, which is like 3.5, 4.5, and 5.5 billion people. There can be no overlap. Now, if you look at Facebook as an industry, think of this, and these are all rough numbers. There will be a couple of million here or there because we are looking at billions. Think of this: the world's population is close to around 7.5 billion to 8 billion people. Facebook's any product is banned in China, so you just remove 1.5 billion from 8 billion. So you are left with 6.5 billion. Out of that 6.5 billion, 80% will have access to mobile phones. Basically, we'll have mobile phones. Forget about the old ages and forget about the kids. Obviously, kids have some access through parents' mobile, but I'm not counting that. So 80% of 6.5 billion comes to around, let's say, 5.5, something like that. Out of this 5.5, let's say around 80%, another 80% have access to internet. Okay, and if you just take the overall people who are active, you will find something on net that 4 to 4.5 billion unique people active on either of these platforms. And it's also available on the Facebook's annual report. So around 4 billion active people on either of these, or unique people active on either of these platforms. So that means 4 billion people out of, let's say, 5 billion people are using any of the Facebook's products. So that's kind of a how far you can grow. So 4 billion can become 5 billion post which what. That's why the concept of open internet, etc. So Facebook has imagine that growth will come at what cost and how fast we can grow. Either people have to grow the ad spending because not many people are going to come on the platform. The retention is a problem because newer and newer networks are coming. So that's why they try to implement everything on Instagram. So this is the kind of a thought process is what we want. Not the pure numbers basically, but some reasoning behind numbers, why something will grow, something will not grow, etc. Then you have effect on global and India's related macro and industry or company. So if there is some policy decision, then probably you can include that, but that will vary from industry to industry. Provide forecast and future expectation about the industry. Again, your thought process comes into picture that why this particular sector will do well or why this particular industry will do well, etc. And then some understanding of the financial statement, some ratios that you will easily get it from the annual reports or common ratios, profitability, return ratios like return on equity, sales, anything related to sales, anything related to the cost. So these are the financial statement. We are not talking about the valuation ratios or we are not talking about the detailed valuation. We are just talking about basic relative valuation if you have read anything around that. I'm also going to send some videos around that which are available on our YouTube channel. Also, I keep on writing something on LinkedIn, so you can follow me on LinkedIn and you will get some sense as in how I think. Not necessarily you have to think in the same direction, but basically it will give you some idea that how to approach a specific problem is what we are going to evaluate on. All right. So I think that is all from my end. Coming to the industry, so we have So far we have decided 5 industries. One is a two-wheeler industry. So you can do research on two-wheelers in India. You can do research on four-wheelers in India. You can do research on telecom industry in India. You can do research on retail industry in India. Retail. It can be online, offline, anything. If you include both, nothing like it. Retail industry. And fifth is a dairy segment, like Amul or anything which is listed entity. 5 industries so far. If we add anything, we will definitely send an email. Two-wheeler, four-wheeler, telecom, retail industry, and dairy industry. Alright. All these 5 industries are B2C. Primarily, you have interacted with each of them on a daily basis. Two-wheeler you do, four-wheelers you do, telecom you do, retail you do, and dairy you do. Dairy includes everything: milk, cheese, any value-added products, anything. So you can, if you are fairly confident that you are going to clear your exam, then start researching right away. Hence the next question, where will I get the data from? So, 3 or 4 sources to find this data. First and foremost is look at the annual report of the companies. Now, how do I find annual reports? It's not difficult to find. You go to company's website. There will be a section called as investors. You get all the annual reports there. If you look at specific sections, the section is called as management discussion and analysis. If you read that section in each annual report, that section probably is of your 4 pages in each year annual report. Annual report, not the quarterly report. You will get a fair bit of understanding as in how the industry is, or how the company is going in, or what the industry is thinking about, or what the company is thinking about the industry. So if you are researching on telecom, probably just download Airtel, Reliance, and Idea's annual report and read for like half an hour each of them. As in last 4 or 5 years, it will not take more than half an hour, 45 minutes for each company. If you are looking at two-wheelers, then probably Bajaj, Hero, Eicher Motors, etc. If you are doing four-wheelers, Tata Motors, again Maruti. You can do for the US companies as well. In US companies, they have 2 formats. One is annual report and one is something called as 10K report. I personally feel that their 10K is the best source of material because it's in a standardized format for any company. It's very concise. Even the likes of Facebook or Google or Alphabet does not have 10K report more than 100 pages. Very concise, business understanding, risk factors, businesses, revenue, cost, everything. Alright. So that's one source. First is industry reports. First is annual reports. Second is industry reports. Industry reports in the sense, or you can have a consultancy, or let's say likes of KPMGs of the world or MBBs of the world. You can just search. You will get slightly dated, but that's fine. You will at least get a fair sense. For example, if you just search McKinsey's report on telecom in India, or probably KPMG's report on telecom in India, you will find something. Okay, so I generally follow these 7 companies: Big Fours and MBB, McKinsey, BCG and Bain, KPMG, Deloitte, PwC, and EY. Either of these 7 must have worked on something or the other in the last 2 or 3 years, and you will get it for free on internet. Alright, so that's second thing. Third thing is connect over LinkedIn from the respective fields. Just talk to them if that's a possibility. You have to obviously ask some people, but if you can just talk to them, that's best thing. And fourth is any of the blogs, not the shortest one. Lot of people just do like 2 or 3 minute blog that will give you just an overview of something. I'm not talking about newspapers. I'm just talking about specific blogs that you have to search. Okay, and you will find it sooner or later, because if you are scanning, let's say 100 links, then you will fall upon something. Be rest assured. All right. So these are the 3 or 4 things where I get my maximum data. You just have to struggle a bit for like a couple of days, but you will definitely see something. Definitely. And for any issues, let's say if you're not trying or if you're not getting anything, feel free to reach out to me. In my capacity, I'll try and help you out. Okay, just to have a fair competition. All right. So I think that's pretty much from my end. If you have any question, then we can take it. Over to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Parth, for guiding us through. So we have a few questions on the chat, and if you guys have more, then you can just put on the chat, and I'll just read them out. So first one is, how will the ties be evaluated in the MCQ quiz?
How the ties will be evaluated?
Yeah,
Somebody who has submitted the fastest.
that was a quite.
If let's say, then the next question is, let's say if let's say we have a limit of, let's say, 100 teams and there are like 110 teams and last 20 teams are tied basically on basis of time as well, we will extend our limit to 110 teams. No issues with that.
Okay, cool. So next question we have up is, okay, when is the quiz and case presentation exactly? It is confusion on the D2C site.
So case presentation date or the format?
I guess they are asking for date. So
Yeah. So sorry. So we are, so on the 5th of February you will get the exact date and the exact format, because we will ask you to create video as well, because we will not be able to take presentation from each of you. So we will ask you to create a video, but exact date and exact specifics you will get it from my side on 5th, the day of the exam. Basically you will get it on 5th. Don't worry.
yeah, so basically, what the confusion might be is that because round two is before round one, that is basically. I talked to Parth and he said that we'll release the case beforehand, just to give you some more time to gather some more details and gather some useful data. So that's why round two is before. Round two case will be released before the round one, and round one quiz will be on 5th of February. From 10 to 10:20. The time is quite limited, just in order to make it quite fair competition.
So basically, I've released the event now. So basically, I have given you the content. I've given you the industry. You can start working on that. More specifics, more nuances, more examples. I'll post on FinShiksha website once we finish the questions. As in, once we finish the test. But otherwise, you can start collecting the data. You can finalize your industry. You can start collecting the data. At least freeze your website. So let's say you're planning to work on two-wheelers and telecom, and you're still not sure. Then one person can basically start collecting the data of two-wheelers, and one person can start collecting data for telecom. Save your website links, and once I release everything on 5th, then basically you can basically finalize, and you have fair time. You have around 5 to 6 days, and trust me, those 5 to 6 days are enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So next thing we have is presentation date. I think we don't have any presentation date. You will be asked to make a video, and that will be quite simple for us to, judge. So
Correct. That is correct.
then they are asking that will both the participants be able to give the quiz, or will it be a single?
Like I said, there is only one quiz to be taken per team. Not both of you, or either three of you have to take a quiz. But you can collaborate. Let's say 15 question, you do 15 question, I do. But there has to be only one submission. Okay, one submission per team. One.
Yeah, cool. I guess that. Okay, so the deadline for the video that will be on 10th midnight. Before 11th,
Yeah.
to be precise. If there are any changes in the dates or timeline, we will just mail you guys.
Yeah,
So don't worry about that.
don't worry about the video and everything, because exact specifics I'll release on 5th on our website. So don't worry around that. In the meantime, just focus on this. Yeah.
Hey, Parth, can you just write on the chat the industries and all so that I can
Oh
just
yeah.
post them
Okay.
on? Okay, so but can you tell them what can be the, I mean, uh, from where they can actually get the idea of like how to do industry analysis, because some of the participants would be engineers and they might not have any idea of like these kind of analysis, and you have told us, but can you just share some
No,
resources as well?
so don't worry. That's what I said. For now, I don't want to overwhelm with you anything. I will give you the presentation structure. I'll give you one dummy industry done by me, and then you can have a look at it on 5th. In the meantime, you just collect the data. Don't worry, I'll give you the presentation format. So presentation has to be, let's say, 10 slides. I will give you the rough structure, then on what slide you can include what, just in case you don't have any idea. And I'll give you a rough understanding. If I was at your place, then how will I go about doing an industry? I'll give you both the snapshots, both the files, you can download it. Don't worry around that. On 5th, I'll give you both.
Cool. I guess that clears most of our doubts. And if you guys have any more doubts, you can just post them on. You can either mail us at IIT FinFest with email ID, or you can just post them on D2C. And
Perfect.
yeah, also you can check Parth's LinkedIn profile. His name is Parth Parekh, and I'll just write that on the chat. Or you can check out the YouTube channel of FinShiksha. Just type in FinShiksha and you can get to there.
I mentioned the industries as well, yeah.
Cool. I'll just post them on the chat and I think then we are good to go. So that's it from our side, guys. If your friends or someone who hasn't registered it, you can just tell them about the opportunity. It's going to be a wonderful opportunity, and I'm sure that you'll have a great learning experience. So that's it from our side. If you have any more queries, then we will be happy to help. Yeah, Partha, you have something to add?
Yeah, yeah. Good to go?
Yeah, I guess.
All right. Okay, I'll just stop sharing my screen. Perfect. And yeah, I think. All right. We can log off.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys, and we hope you have a great
Thanks a
learning
lot, guys.
experience.